The world is full of dishonest men. Dishonest men are ordinary men who consistently bluff themselves and in so doing lose their self-respect. If one feels it is reasonable to lie to himself, then he will feel the same towards lying to his fellow men. If one has hurt someone so intimate such as himself, it becomes perfectly sensible for him to hurt others as well. To be honest with oneself is the way of a warrior. It serves as his inner compass with which he can navigate his way through the uncertain storms of the world. He knows what he wants out of his temporary existence, and nothing can stop him from attaining it. In a world where men have lost his sense of purpose, countless opinions and ideas on how to live one's life constantly bombard a warrior, and yet a warrior remains unmoved in his convictions. He knows people are living a giant lie they call life, and he cannot accept the opinions of ordinary men who have soiled the sacredness of their souls. He is also aware of the fact that people who have deceived themselves so thoroughly would often make it their mission to seduce others into walking down the same treacherous path. Acknowledging this, a warrior finds comfort in his own set of ideals. The advice of close blood is appreciated by a warrior, but never becomes an object of worship. Families and relatives often come in with advice that promotes their own self-image rather than one's well-being. And therefore, a warrior cannot allow his sensitivity for his loved ones to make the decisions for him. No matter how much he regards their opinions, a warrior realizes that there can never be anyone more intimate to him than himself, and that no one knows him better than himself. Therefore, the only true counsel he can trust is himself. A warrior is ruthless in making independent choices, because he knows that every choice is the last choice he ever makes at any point in his life. And to make sure he keeps making the right choices all the time, he constantly goes back to within himself for counsel. So, what is the right choice? To a warrior, the right choices are those that are completely in sync with his innermost values. They are the choices that make a warrior who he is. No matter how tough making the right choice can be, a warrior knows that it is ultimately one that promotes his inner strength and courage by the simple act of standing up to his own ideals. Simply making the choice that's aligned to his convictions, despite the objections of others, is fulfilling in itself, because it is a glaring proof that nothing can faze him. On the other hand, an ordinary man never investigates fully the full spectrum of his values. Therefore, he subjects himself to the values of other people and unwittingly becomes their slave. An ordinary man is getting pulled to all directions by his desire for approval and being liked, and therefore becomes a man who is tortured by getting his four limbs pulled apart by four horses running in different directions. Meanwhile, a warrior acknowledges the peace that comes with a sense of inner direction, so that he does not become slave to the fickle public opinions. The basic difference between an ordinary man and a warrior is the willingness to go alone and remain that way. An ordinary man is constantly afraid of being alone and rejected by his fellow men. He constantly worries about the possibility of one day being on his deathbed with nobody by his side. Meanwhile, a warrior accepts the fact that a man is born alone and will die alone. He welcomes all the friends he encounters along the way, but never becomes attached to them. He cherishes the time spent with his fellow travelers, and yet knows when to say goodbye. He acknowledges that every path is unique to oneself, and that no two persons can walk on the same path. The warrior, time and time again, might feel the cold shivers of being alone, but constantly finds comfort in the warm feelings of liberation deep inside him. To a warrior, the warmth of his freedom is infinitely greater than the chills of his loneliness. Likewise, a lion stands alone among a herd of sheep, not because it wants to be different, but because it feels comfortable in its own skin. A warrior accepts that people understand from their level of consciousness, and so never wastes excessive amount of energy trying to explain to each one of them why he does what he does. He sympathizes with the tears of the people he leaves behind, but never lets them change his mind. He bids them farewell and goes on his way. Thank you for watching.